After the long voyage, we finally arrived in Paris. I was utterly spent, and my body screamed for rest before I could continue. My father, bless his heart, was tireless in his care, but he didn't know the real source of my torment. He thought the answer was society, dragging me to gatherings, but I couldn't stand the sight of people. No, that's not right. I didn't abhor them. They were my brothers, my fellow human beings. But I felt I had no right to be among them. I had unleashed an enemy, a monster who delighted in their pain. If they knew what I had done, they would hunt me from the face of the earth. My father eventually gave up trying to force me into company. He thought I was ashamed of the murder charge, but he couldn't have been more wrong. "Father," I cried, "you don't understand. Poor innocent Justine died for a crime she didn't commit. It was my fault. I murdered her. William, Justine, Henry. They all died by my hands." He'd heard me say this before and thought it was just the ravings of a sick mind. But I couldn't tell him the truth. How could I reveal a secret so monstrous it would fill him with horror? So I stayed silent, even though I was desperate for someone to understand. One day he told me, "My dearest Victor, what is this madness? I beg you, never say such things again." "I am not mad," I shouted. "The heavens themselves saw what I did. I am the assassin of those innocent souls. I would have given anything to save them, but I couldn't sacrifice all of humanity." This outburst only convinced him further that I was losing my mind. He changed the subject and never let me speak of my misfortunes again. As time passed, I grew calmer on the surface, bottling up the misery inside. Just before we left Paris, a letter arrived from Elizabeth. She wrote about how much she missed me and hoped to see peace on my face when I returned. But then she asked a question that struck me to the core. She brought up our parents' plan for us to marry. "Tell me, dearest Victor," she wrote, "do you love another? Your happiness is all I desire. Our marriage would make me miserable unless it was your own free choice." She confessed her love for me, but urged me to be true to my own heart. Her words brought back a chilling memory, the monster's threat. "I will be with you on your wedding night." My sentence. That night, he would come for me. That would be our final battle. If he won, I would finally be at peace. If I won, what freedom would I have left? I would be like a man whose family was slaughtered before his eyes, left with nothing. But I still had Elizabeth, a treasure worth fighting for. I read her letter over and over. A part of me dared to dream of happiness with her, but the monster's shadow loomed over everything. I decided then and there, his threats would not stop me. I wrote back to Elizabeth, my letter calm and affectionate. I told her that all my hopes for happiness were centered in her, but I also warned her, "I have one dreadful secret," I wrote. "A tale of horror I will share with you the day after we are married. Until then, I beg you, do not ask." Soon we were back in Geneva. Elizabeth greeted me with tears in her eyes, shocked by my gaunt appearance. The joy I felt upon seeing her was fleeting. Memories of what I'd done would drive me into fits of rage and despair. Only Elizabeth's gentle voice could soothe me. My father pressed for the marriage to happen quickly. When he asked if I had another attachment, I told him, "None on earth. I love Elizabeth." And so the date was set for 10 days' time. I agreed with a cheerful face, believing I was sealing my own doom. If only I had understood the monster's true hellish intention. I thought I was preparing for my own death, but I was actually rushing to the destruction of a far dearer victim. As the day approached, I was filled with dread, but I hid it behind a mask of happiness. I started carrying pistols and a dagger, always on watch. The wedding day arrived. Elizabeth was melancholic, filled with a sense of foreboding. After the ceremony, we set off across the lake to spend our first night at Evian. The sun was warm, the water calm. For a few brief moments I felt happy. I took Elizabeth's hand. "You seem sorrowful, my love," I said. "Be happy, my dear Victor," she replied, trying to be cheerful, but her eyes kept drifting. As the sun began to set, the wind died down. We landed as twilight fell, and as my feet touched the shore, all my fears came rushing back, ready to cling to me forever.